Oh, there we go. Mr. Professional drop his microphone on the floor just as the live stream begins. But good morning, everyone. And I've decided to be brave and fully expose the full rack of sequins today. So I hope you're ready for that. I decided not to wear a dress myself. I'm sorry about that, but my girlfriend is quite small and I don't think I'll fit in her dresses. I haven't tried, despite what anyone may say. But yes, hello. We've already got a lot of people tuning in. I've seen Jakarta, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand. So yeah, we're well represented. Even Norfolk is represented in the chat room this morning. So yeah, good morning, everyone. Feel free to start asking questions. I'm just going to sup a brew and I'll get started. Oh, Shropshire and Liverpool. Yeah. Oh dear, Shane Marsh is encountering adverts. Sorry about that, Shane, but they are a thing unless you're a YouTube premium member, which I am. And I've just realised I've got the shaky laptop going on, so let's see if I can do something about that. I've got a stand here. I could have actually got prepared for this live stream like a sensible person would. Oh, microphone's come out. There we go. Sorry. I'm back. Should be back now. Hello, hello. Oh dear, no. Right, okay. Bear with me, folks. No, I've absolutely killed the sound. Oh no. Is it fluctuating? Yes, I'm back. Excellent. There we go. God, anyone would think I was a professional. Oh, wow. I really should have put slow chat on. I still haven't found out how to turn slow chat on. I tried looking at it this morning and still have not found how to do, oh my gosh, slow chat. And I wish I had now, because I've now just got this huge stream of yes, you're back. And have I ever had cider? I've never had any cider, really. Back in my early days, maybe, but no, I'm not a fan of the old alcohol, unfortunately. I just don't like the taste or the effect. Netherlands and Dunfermline, hello. Worst car I've done repairs on. I suspect I own it. Citroen GSA. I think it's going to be a horrible car to work on. The Citroen H van, definitely a terrible car. But just before we get too far into this, oh no, I'm already getting distracted by questions. Just someone was asking about storage and how my cars are in storage. I did disconnect the batteries on them all the last time I was there. Sorry about that. Too much tea, drunk too quickly. And someone else mentioned, am I worried about tyres going out of shape? And it is a concern. Most of the cars have moved. I came back and moved them all around. But Foxan and the Matiz, while I've rocked them back and forwards, I haven't been able to actually move them out of position yet. So I hope their tyres will be all right, especially as Foxan is on a pretty much brand new set. Right, let's see if we can catch up with some questions. Does Tuck run on unleaded? Yes. Aluminium engine. She'll have hardened valve seats. I think she'll probably be all right. Hello, Ontario. Canada in the house. Glasgow, Manchester. Is the GSA a keeper? That depends on my finances this year, because I've kind of spent next year's tax money, my savings pot, on the GSA. So if I can replace that money between now and January when I have to pay my tax bill, I will keep her. If I can't do that, then she'll have to go. So we'll see how things go. What do you think of Aging Wheels bus project? It's terrifying, to be honest, but I'm enjoying watching it. I've actually had a chat with Aging Wheels, so there will be a lockdown interview to come with Aging Wheels. That was quite interesting. We have very similar tastes in cars and very much like each other's channels, so that's all good. And I also have a lockdown interview coming with Paul Cowland, who presents classic Salvage Hunters classic cars, and that should be out hopefully Monday or Tuesday. Got to get that one edited up. Paul, if you're watching, you need to send me photos so I can get that done. Get rid of the Tercel? No, I haven't even started with the Tercel yet. Which car are you not looking forward to sorting out? It's probably Foxan, because there's an awful lot to do on Foxan. Where's the leftover pizza? Haha, leftover pizza is downstairs. I suspect that will be lunch. On social media, I was discussing this morning that I actually went out for a drive to a pizza place to grab some takeout pizza last night. We're too rural for them to deliver to us, but I thought a quick hoon in the GSA should be all right, and it was good fun. Really enjoyed it. Roads are very quiet at the moment, so it was very entertaining, even in the rain. Got any crowdfunding plans? I need to assess what's what with cars. I'm not going to start asking people to contribute when I don't really know what the plan is. So I need to get to the bottom of that. Oh, these are long questions. We love Tuck. Who doesn't love Tuck? She's amazing. What will be your next buy? I'm not planning to buy anything. I've got more than enough to sort out. Converting the Fox to electric, it's still a dream at the moment. I don't think that's going to happen easily. Is there still some Australia footage to come? Loads. I think I'm done with the Tasmania footage. I may have a little bit more to come from Tassie, but then we'll be over to Melbourne, and I've got loads of road tests. I've still got some New Zealand road tests yet to come. There's a Range Rover. There's a Great Wall Wingle camper van, which I'm really looking forward to bringing to you. I'm just a bit reluctant to present it at the moment because YouTube's been getting quite anti discussing the virus, which is also why I've held off my Toyota Corona video. And I'm just waiting for them to calm down a bit before I dare post a Chinese pickup as a test drive. Myrtle does need a blast. She hasn't even started up this year yet. Do you like modified cars? Patrick, the best thing to do is check out yesterday's lockdown interview with Chris Pollitt of Car and Classic and Not Too Grand. That was another nice chat, and we discussed modified cars in that. So if you haven't already, go and check out that one. That was good fun to do. And it's interesting. The views on those lockdown interviews, not necessarily very high, but I get really good feedback on them. And I really enjoy doing them because it's just nice to chat with petrol heads, to be honest. I'm a bit cut off from the world here in West Wales. Guy Emott asks, are you planning to return the GSA back to nearer original condition? No, there's no point. It's been so messed about with the GSA, which is fine with me. I don't see it as an investment. I don't see it as a car that needs to be original. And it gives me some freedom to kind of do what I like with it. I would like to brighten it up a bit. So I do have plans for the GSA. Tom Carr says, great interview with Chris. Yeah. I wish Chris did more videos as well. But he likes to do his videos properly. So that does restrict your potential for output. And like the rest of us, he's in lockdown at the moment. He can't do very much. I mean, poor Chris has just got his Rover 800 back on the road, which is kind of a figurehead of Not Too Grand. And now finds that we're all locked down and can't drive anywhere. So he's, very sad, poor bloke. We need more Italian cars. Yes, we do, Frank. We definitely need more Italian cars. And I've got good contacts in the Fiat Owners Club here in the UK. I just need to get around to arranging it. In fact, the chap I sold my Rover 45 V6 to is very involved in the Fiat Owners Club. He usually organises the stands at the NEC. I need to go and see him and some of his amazing cars. He's got a fantastic collection of all sorts, including a Tempera estate. Yummy. How often does Citroen hydraulic suspension go wrong? Not often. People are terrified of the Citroen hydraulics. You may get quirks occasionally. A sticky height corrector may make it not want to sit at the correct height, but you can usually sort those things out. That's not a problem at all. It wasn't me phoning Car Pervert in his Beetle video, Barry. No, that wasn't me. But yeah, the hydraulics tend to be reliable. It's just a pipe may fail occasionally. The only major failure I've ever had on hydraulics is when my 305,000 mile BX turbo diesel estate blew a front to rear pipe. And that's a nasty job to change. Ooh. Thoughts on a Fiat 127? I need to drive one. I've only driven one very briefly and not on the road. And it seemed a very nice car. Bear with me, finishing the tea. We know you love French cars, asked Mike Hawes, but would you consider a BL70s car? Yeah, I probably would, although I actually quite fancy going older. I fancy getting something from the BMC days, either a Minor or an A35, and trying to sort it out and just make it a bit more dailyable. That's something I would definitely like to do. Ooh, best roads, UK, Australia, or New Zealand? UK roads are fantastic, they're just too busy. Australian roads, for the most part, fairly dull and tedious. They're mostly just highways for getting from one place to another. So I think New Zealand, although New Zealand still has some highways that are quite boring, it also has some very interesting roads. So if you like driving, yeah, I'd say New Zealand is the place to go. If you do more interviews or podcasts, yeah, podcasts. I'm not sure how to make the podcast things work. Oh, thanks, Ricardo Ruba, who's just become a basic hub nutter. Ever had trouble with the condenser on the GSA? Here's a slightly terrifying thing. I have no idea what ignition the GSA is running. It was kind of built as someone's dream daily, and he may have fitted electronic ignition. I don't know. I haven't even looked. So yeah, that needs to happen. Oh, someone's asking about the Great Wall Wingle camper. Hopefully not too far away. Probably won't be next week. I mean, I've got so many interesting cars. Morris Nomad, the Leyland P76 still hasn't appeared. Tomorrow is going to be a Nissan Skyline. And you may be going, oh, no, not one of those huge things with the big spoilers and stupid exhausts. No, this is a Nissan Skyline estate that was assembled in Australia. So that's coming for you to watch tomorrow. I think that'll be a very enjoyable road test. It's also the first time I've tried recording with the new setup and a head-mounted camera. And I'm not too sure how it's come out. I will welcome your views. I didn't do a very good angle on the camera, so that didn't help. But yeah, let me know what you think when you see that one tomorrow. I always try to keep an eye on the comments, even if I can't reply to them all. Oh, thanks Matt Pink for becoming a basic hub nutter. Will there be a Live to Drive interview? Possibly. I've got a lot of interviews kicking around at the moment, potential ones. I can't do them all. Yes, Calib is an R31 Skyline, the first that used the RB 6-cylinder engine, 3-litre form in this one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you think of it. I absolutely loved that test. Norwegian roads are great. That's very, very true. I have been to Norway once in a Citroen H-Van. Probably not the best vehicle for savouring those roads. Do you have any thoughts on a Vauxhall Monaro? I think after driving some very, very hefty Australian stuff, I think a Monaro would be a lot of fun, but it's too much power for me. Isn't a Skyline State a Stagia or a Stagia? That came later. That was kind of R32 onwards, I think. Beard cam, yeah, I've not had much joy with beard cam. I've just never made it able to work. Would you drive a bus? I would always welcome a chance to drive a bus. Still very keen to get my hands on an MCW Metro bus. Mark 1, please, if anyone has such a vehicle that I could get near. Great to get sniff petrol on an interview. Maybe possible. I don't know. I haven't approached Richard Porter yet. Is the long hair hub nut coming back? Could be. I've had a shave, but while my girlfriend has offered to do a haircut, I'm not sure. It could go horribly wrong, but then it's only me, so maybe it doesn't matter. Chris McKay asks your thoughts on burnouts. I don't quite get it, to be honest. And Chris is the previous owner of the Ford Fairmont, Betty. And I don't know if you did any burnouts in poor Betty. I didn't. I just did that bit of paddock racing. I could never quite bring myself to try doing a full burnout in her because I have too much mechanical sympathy to do burnouts. V6 or straight 6 really is not that much difference. Each has its own plus points. Now we're scrolling past. NEC Classic Car Show, will it go ahead this year? Well, the restoration show that was meant to be in March has been rescheduled to early August, 6th to the 8th, I think, of August. Whether that will happen or not obviously depends on how we go, but I don't think we can stay in this super tight lockdown for that long. I just don't think it's practical for the entire country. So, go on, Chris. Yeah, send me a Betty burnout video. Yeah, I really hope that show is going to go ahead. And Festival of the Unexceptional, I don't believe has been cancelled yet. They're also hoping that this will all calm down by July. So we'll see. I think by November, I think we should be all right. But we'll just have to see how things go. Obviously, we all still need to be careful, lots of hand washing and all that sort of stuff. Where is the mighty Dacia? Still with Rich, still off the road at the moment, I believe. Have you heard from Betty's new owners? Not since I exchanged an email just a couple of days after the sale. I need to get in touch with the current owners of Betty. Of course, they're as locked down as everyone else in the world. Nitro and Tuck. No. Thinking of getting a Panhard PL17. I would love one, but I think they're just priced beyond my means, unfortunately. Fascinating cars, the Panhards. That's not how you pronounce it. That's how us English pronounce it. Do you like the Renault Aventine? Yes. P76 Agent Gaming. I've already done the video. Agent Gaming. I've got it recorded in hairy lime, no less. So that's going to be a very colourful video. 4.4 V8. So yeah, thanks for the offer. But A, I'm in the UK and I'm guessing you might not be. And B, I've already recorded it. I've just got to get it edited and get it out there. I haven't done a Morris 1800 yet. The Kimberley is as close as I've got so far. Thoughts on the S-Type? I'm really not an S-Type fan. But then I'm not a huge fan of the Rover 75 either. So yeah. Ever gotten a free car? Yes, quite a few. Usually dreadful. In fact, if you go and search through my videos and search for free Volvo 740, you can see how well that collection caper went. It broke down. Turned out it wasn't really very good at all. Hello from Somerset. Hello. And Montana. Wow. All cars your own. What's the oldest you still know? But what the oldest car I'm still in touch with? Oh, I'm not really in touch with that many people who own my old cars, and they've often, they go to people like me who change cars very often. The Toyota Starlet is still with a friend of mine locally in Wales. I see that occasionally. Last time I saw it was outside the pub. So Dave, if you're watching, I saw where you were. Yeah, otherwise the only other one, there's a 2CV I owned in about 1998, a Sea Reg grey Charleston, a two-tone grey. I was actually given that car. That was a free car, given it by an old bloke who was giving up driving, but unfortunately it had been put on a terrible chassis, and rather than put it on a better chassis, I sold it instead. But that car then got involved in an accident, was off the road for a long time, and then a few years ago turned up at a 2CV show, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's Colette, my old 2CV. So that's probably the oldest car in my history that still exists. Thoughts on the Toledo two-door? Well, it's probably the most hubnut of the Triumphs, really, isn't it? Are you planning to come to the USA? I would like to. Obviously, can't do anything at the moment, but it was never going to happen this year anyway. I need to stay at home and actually sort some stuff out here. But yeah, definitely looking to do it in the future. Do you watch Project Binky? I certainly do. And Project Escargo as well. Their conversion of a Ford Cargo mobile library into the ultimate dream motorhome stroke car transporter, which is, if anything, it's more insane than Project Binky, I think. Best name you've called one of your cars? Well, I don't think that's down to me to call, is it really? Oh my gosh, Andy's in the chat. Hello, Andy. She well remembers Colette. Andy is probably my longest serving friend, and annoyingly she moved to Kent, so she's now miles away from me, but it's nice to see you anyway, Andy. Did you try a Holden Commodore VL with a Nissan 6? No, I never got to try one. Gutted about that. I'll just have to go back to Australia again. I didn't drive a Holden Tirana either, or many of the early Fords. Any plans to do a video with Car Pervert? Well, yeah, the plans are there. We just haven't been able to make it happen yet. And the plans were there before lockdown. It's just trying to get us together. Do you watch Big Car? I haven't seen many of his videos, I must admit. I might try and check out more of them. Pete C interview. I haven't spoken to Pete yet about that. Do you watch Shed and Buried? No, not yet. I still don't watch much TV. We're playing a lot of card games at the moment, which are a fantastic way to spend the time. Arif asks about Tuck the Invacar. She's okay. She came out for that brief run when I got back, quick 60-mile-an-hour run, but then one of her doors has fallen apart, and I need to sort that out really before she can come out to play. Barry Davis asks if I'm still trying to source new storage. I am. So if anyone in West Wales has a suitable unit, do let me know. and it would be nice to do that. Sorry, a few things have got held up by the content filters for some reason. One of which was where's it gone? You gave away a Citroen Army. You are crazy. Any places in New Zealand worth visiting is what Hugh Granger said. For some reason that got blocked by the content filter. I don't know why. All of it, really. I mean, it's all interesting. It's all different. I greatly enjoyed it. My major advice would be to mostly stay away from the touristy places. It's fun to go to the touristy spots every now and then, you know, Queenstown and things like that. But if I went to somewhere like that every day of my New Zealand trip, I would end up hating the country. It's good to just get away from it all, to be honest. There's lots of places. Oamaru is probably one of my favourite parts of New Zealand. A little forgotten town, but a lot of lovely stone buildings. And when you get to New Zealand, you start to miss that because a lot of wooden structures. Everything sort of feels kind of temporary, even modern builds. So there isn't much in the way of stone buildings. You'll go to a town and it'll be a wooden town, and the only stone building is the bank because your bank needs to be pretty secure. Ollie Bob asks whether I was worried about spiders in Australia. Yeah, I genuinely was, but I didn't see any, so maybe I panicked unnecessarily. Sean W, have you ever driven a Renault 14? I've never been near a Renault 14. I would like to do something about that. Agent Gaming asks whether I can drive an Austin 7. Yeah, I'd like to. They're slightly terrifying cars to drive, Austin 7s. I've driven a few of them. Be a good one to do a video on. Carfan1 asks whether I prefer Peugeot 405 or 406. 405, no triangle of doom on the 405. 406 has a huge one. Yugo, FSO or Lada, which unloved brand do you prefer to own? I'll probably go Yugo. I really like that little Yugo I drove in New Zealand. Again, that was a very unexpected opportunity. Absolutely loved it. Little Yugo, what was it, 55A, I think it was. Any recommendations for someone who doesn't have much space for a classic? Probably something glass fiber, less rust potential. So yeah, get yourself a three-wheeled Reliant. That would be a good laugh. They're very cheap and lots of fun. Minisaurus, I've already done a lockdown interview with iDriver Classic. Go and check. That's happened already. Piaggio Ape would be fun to do. Nova or Metro, that's a difficult one. I haven't driven a Nova for a very long time. Not since I was, I think, 15 or 16. I drove my dad's Nova Merit Saloon in a car park. First manual car I drove. Sadly, it's dead. I do check on that one. That one's long gone. Do you miss the FSO? That one's thrown me a bit. I don't think I've driven an FSO on camera. Ever driven an NSU? Yes, I've driven an RO80 or RO80. There's a test of one of those on my channel. A long time ago, I did also drive a 1000 rear engine, 4-cylinder, overhead cam, transverse. Very interesting car, very nice to drive. Do you watch classic cars offerings on websites? I don't quite understand that question. Favorite car to cruise? In recent experience, the Ford Fairmont AU. Scottish aviation scamp. Well, yeah, I encountered a scamp in Croatia on the 2CV trip and at Retro Rides gathering a couple of months later. And it turns out, yeah, his friends are 2CVers. So, yeah, he took his scamp all the way to Croatia. So that was good. Any automatics you like? I'm reminded of the Ford Fairmont AU again with its BTR transmission. It worked really well, apart from that occasional slippage when cold. Ever wanted to drive a Metro 6R4? Hell yeah. Do you support car YouTubers? Like watch them? Yes. Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTubers. And as I've got a premium YouTube account, which costs, frankly, slightly too much money every month, they get a cut of that income rather than the ad revenue, because I don't get ads because that's what the premium does for you. So yeah, I like to support them. I share videos I like. That's a great way of supporting YouTubers. You just simply share the videos you like and hit the like button, subscribe to their channels. And it's not just car ones, obviously there's music ones. I'm always going on about Kaleidoscope Orchestra. There's engineering ones like This Old Tony. There's Wintergarten is one I keep up with as well. So yeah, It's oh, Johnny Smith's here, is he? Oh, hello, Johnny. I missed you jumping in, but yes, someone's just pointed out that Mr. Pervert is here. Yes, good to see. Thanks for coming along. I'm quite envious because he got to do his live stream in a car with lots of natural light, whereas I'm up in an attic room with a lamp trying to illuminate me, and it looks a bit scary. And I'm surrounded by more sequins than Johnny is. How about a visit to a UK classic scrapyard? I'd like to do that if I can find a suitable one. There's an epic one up in Scotland that I would like to go and see. Would you ever in the future purchase an electric car? Yes, but only if it was cheap. Do you browse the internet for? Oh yeah, I always browse the internet. There's lots of places to look for cars for sale. Car and Classic has always been a good site, which is why I was happy to have a chat with Mr. Pollitt yesterday. And of course, Mr. Pollitt has done videos with Johnny Smith, so there's a real circularity to the world of YouTube at times. Right, trying to approve questions as they come in. Oh, Visa Decapitable. Oh, that'd be an interesting one. Oh, Revolution 1-1 again makes a donation from Canada. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Is that your cross-dressing kit? These are not my sequins. This is the one I posed with earlier. It's got a lot of flashy on it. So yeah, that's possible. Questions coming through thick and fast. Is there a future for diesel cars? That's an interesting question, because I like old school diesels when there were proper diesel engines. I'm not so pleased with where diesels have gone, all the nitrous oxides and even the way they drive. I don't like it. Some of the modern diesel engines are absolutely horrible. Do you prefer a Rover P5 or P6? I would always go P6 for the extra engineering, but P5 is a marvelous vehicle. What did the man who bought Betty intend to do with her? Well, he had some relatives coming who wanted to see New Zealand. So hopefully that happened. And that was the plan. I don't know what he was going to do after that. I still harbour dreams one day of bringing Betty to the UK, but it's frankly a very silly idea. Are Hubnut mugs still in stock? I don't know, Simone. I'm not so attached to the store anymore. Rachel's kind of running the store herself. So if you've got any queries about the store and the stock, best thing to do is to email hubnutmerch@gmail.com. And Rachel will let you know what the status is. I know there are plans to get mugs in, and we want to get some Betty mugs as well, because we've kind of sold out of the Betty t-shirts already, which is astonishing. There's a lot of love for that car, it seems. And I think we've got 4 hoodies left, but I'm not sure of the sizes on those. So yeah, what country would you like to do next? Yeah, I'm not sure really. I certainly want to get back over to Europe. I want to go and check out some of the Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia, places like that. I would like to go to Scandinavia again. America is definitely on the list. Canada, potentially. Yeah, lots of places I'd like to go and see. Montego Turbo Diesel Estate would be a good review. I agree, Darren. It absolutely would be if I could find one. That Perkins engine was a peach as diesels go. And yeah, I'd very much like to drive one. Mazda's track records with diesel is horrendous. Yeah, the Japanese have struggled a bit with diesel. Toyotas, the Hilux Surf, the 2.4 litre engine, great at cracking heads. Mitsubishi diesel engines can also suffer issues. Bit of a strange one. Bearing in mind Japan has quite a truck industry going on. Moving diesels into cars hasn't gone quite so well. What do you think about the Jaguar XJ X358? Yeah, that's kind of the last of the traditional XJs. Unfortunately, they do seem to be tarnished by reliability issues. I had a relative who bought one, and he had a terrible time with it. And yeah, I like the looks. I don't think I'd like the drive. I remember a lot of complaints about the suspension. So I think I might just keep my distance. It's definitely far too modern for me. Anyway, it's post 2000, isn't it? That's like frighteningly modern. Do I ever drink coffee? No. Yeah, the Nissan diesels have been okay, but then they got into bed with Renault and things went a little bit wrong. What dress from behind you are you trying on first? I've already said I'm pretty sure none of these dresses will fit me, and I'm not going to prove the point. Have a Hubnut logo on the back of the next t-shirts and hoodies. Possibly puts the cost up. Yeah, there's all sorts we can do with merchandise. We'll see what we can do. Oh wow, Nova 1.5 TD. Do any survive? That was a little Isuzu engine, I think. So Isuzu were pretty good at diesels, although they did have a 3-litre diesel in the Trooper that did a marvellous job of running away on its own engine oil. So again, Japanese diesels really struggling. French or German diesel engines? I have a preference for the French ones myself. I think when you look at especially the 1980s, although Audi had the 5-cylinder diesel, which was a nice engine, I think the French were slightly ahead, I think, of Germany in terms of diesel technology, despite Rudolf Diesel ironically being German. Hubnut sandals, that's not a bad plan. I've got some Hush puppies at the moment. They're fantastically comfortable. Not that I get to wear them in the UK very often. Rolls-Royce Silver Shadows. Yeah, that might be a fun one to do, actually, although I'm more a Silver Spirit man. Pantograph wiper. But yeah, Citroen hydraulics at the back. It's got to be good stuff, hasn't it? Did you pass your driving test at Maypole Test Centre? I certainly did, Gary. Yes, back in the day before it closed down. So that's up towards Druids Heath in South Birmingham. That's where I passed my driving test. I still remember that moment of utter joy when he said, "Congratulations, you've passed." So that was good times. Agent Gaming, could you stop spamming my chat, please? I mean, blimey, you're just posting the same thing over and over again. That's not how you get people to follow you, is by spamming people's chats. I don't do it, and I don't sort of ask others to subscribe either. Content is king at this game, so if you make the content people want to see, people will find it. It doesn't happen overnight. Oh, that's a nice comment there, Dan. Thank you. I think we'll be leaving that one hidden. Fine. But it's just my view on things. Obviously, you get a lot of people asking for stuff all the time. It's just not possible to respond to every single request, and it's not possible to follow every single channel. I follow the channels I like, and I mention to you the channels I like, and you might mention channels that you like to me, and I might not like those channels, and some people might not like this channel. That's just kind of life, really, isn't it? Have you ever been ticketed for speeding? Nope. I've never, ever. Oh, sorry, Dan, misunderstood. I've never been done for speeding. I did once get stopped for speeding, but to be fair, I was doing 50 miles an hour in a 30 limit in a Citroen Diane. But I don't think that police car that pulled out of the side road as I was going down the road, very sneaky, was legally actually meant to be able to pull me over. It was a Panda car, not a sort of a highway car. So they did pull me over, and she just basically laughed at me and yeah, told me not to do it again. That's the only time I've ever been done for speeding. Generally, I don't speed. Ticket for speeding in the Invacar, that would be a challenge. That would be one to put above the mantelpiece, but I'm still not going to do it. Any tips on the Citroen XM? What to look for while restoring it? Strut tops. The key one, front suspension. Strut tops can, the problem is they're very difficult to check, but they can fail without warning, punch holes through your bonnet. That's not good. So if you're restoring one, I'd be tempted to fit new. To be honest, it's probably a good idea. Otherwise, it's rotting the sills around the rear subframe. And the joy of French electrics. Ever get a parking ticket? Yeah, I've got a parking ticket, to be fair. But to be honest, I'd spent ages parking on a pavement outside a pub when I was 18, and it was my first 2CV. Got a parking ticket, and I was kind of, well, I've saved so much money in parking fares, but it seemed all right at the time. But what can I say? I was young and stupid. Review on an MG Midget 1500. Oh no, not rubber bumpers. I'm afraid, not for me. I would have to go A series power, classic chrome. But yeah, MG Midgets are a lot of fun. I've got a Suzuki Cappuccino coming up. That should be a fun one. Looking forward to that. Do you spot continuity errors in car chase films such as Ronin with the Citroen XMs? Of course I do. I'm a car geek. This is what ruins watching films with cars in for me and anyone who happens to be near me at the time. And I was watching some awful award-winning somehow Japanese anime cartoon thing the other day, and the main car was an Audi A4 and the wipers went the wrong way. I wasn't very happy about that. Oh, thanks G-Man for the positive comments about how I do my reviews. That's very kind of you. They don't always come out as well as I hope, the reviews, but it's really difficult because you're kind of trying to produce it in your head at the same time. You're trying to ensure you've talked about everything you want to talk about and you've done it in a fairly timely fashion. You're hoping all the recording and the sound equipment is working while you go, so it can be very difficult to try and get all the facts out and get all that in your head while you're driving down a road in a foreign country, just to liven things up. Hummer H1, they're very big and very impressive. I would love to go off-roading in one. Frog Eye Sprite, they're lovely. I've driven a Frog Eye. They are hilarious fun. 948cc, and it feels like plenty. It was Spirited Away. Thank you, Robert. Didn't finish watching the film. Once some heads started bouncing around on the floor, it was kind of like, I'm out of here. Oh. Ever tried a Herald? No, but I have owned a Bond to Keep, which is on a Herald chassis, and Scuttle, indeed. But it was a terrible example. I need to drive a nice one. I'm sure they exist. Otherwise, the only other small chassis Triumph I've driven is GT6, and they are amazing, but need handling with care. Suzuki WizKid would love to drive one. Does Lancaster Insurance do multi-car policies? I believe they do. I'm no longer involved with Lancaster, but most classic car insurers do multi-car policies. I'm currently with Peter S. Taylor, also known as Bishop Calway. They insure most of my fleet, and this isn't a paid recommendation, it's just who I'm with. Some of them as moderns, some of them as classics. And the Invacar has always been insured with Haggerty, who sponsored the original collection of that car. And yes, I do pay for my Haggerty insurance, and I'm still with them, very happy with their service. They also do multi-car policies. Roy Percy says, hard to find a visa anywhere. Head to the Autoshite forum. There's loads of visas on there at the moment. It's amazing. Cannonball Run. Yeah, Cannonball Run's not really my thing. A nice, slow, steady drive is more my thing. But yeah, I have thought about how and where I could do road runs of a hub nut nature, and maybe it'll happen one day. Yeah, my friend keeps buying Citroen visas. Should I get him sectioned? No, you should worship him like a god. Clearly, he's the most sensible person you know. Are you planning to chat with Furious Driving? Already done, Graham. If you go and search through, he was actually the first of my lockdown interviews, Furious Driving, because me and Matt used to work together when I was editing magazines, and he is a superb photographer. So we did quite a few features. We once went to the Netherlands together as well, and yeah, all good fun. What car coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda saved British Leyland? Most of them, if they built them properly. The Triumph Stag could have been a contender if the engine wasn't thwarted by cooling issues. Leyland Princess could have been brilliant if they'd been put together. SD1. Darren Wright says, what phone do you use as a camera? I'm guessing you're using the phone today. Incorrect. This looks all grainy and horrible because this is the webcam on my laptop. I am using a separate lav mic, just a cheap eBay jobby. This is the camera I use for most of the shooting of a camera nature, but to be honest, I moved on. It's an Oppo F1S, by the way. I've moved on from cameras. Let me just go and grab my camera if I can remember where I've put it. You can admire this lovely IKEA chair while I do so. Yeah, this is what I'm using these days. It's a DJI Osmo action camera, and it's got a big screen on the back, but importantly, it's got a selfie screen on the front, which is really, really useful. So that works really well. The only problem is it takes an adapter to take an external mic, and I've had quite a lot of issues on the videos you've seen on the New Zealand and Australia trip with it losing connection of the mic. I think since I've changed the firmware on this, that problem has gone away, but I will do a full review on this at some point. because it's been a great little camera. It's got built-in stabilization, so I can walk around shows handheld, and it's not wobbling all over the place. I don't need the gimbal, which is quite bulky. And of course, long time viewers of the channel, how much trouble I've had with gimbals. That's been my new secret weapon. I think it works really well. It's much better at doing the internal footage. Would it be possible to do a chat with Peter Anderson in Australia? I've actually done a full video with Peter when I was over in Melbourne. It just hasn't appeared yet. Maybe I should try and get that out sooner rather than later, but it was kind of the last video I filmed in Australia, so I was going to use it to bookend the trip, but maybe the storyline's not actually that important. Maybe I should just get it out there, because very interesting chap, and he's doing a lot with E90 Starlets at the moment. Road trip across America, asked Chris, what car? Now that's a difficult one, because part of me would obviously like to go to America and do it in some rumbling great V8 thing. And that's what you want. You want something that's built for covering distance. But I also dream of taking the 2CV over. But I think given the distances, I don't think Ellie would be the best for that one, to be fair to her. Or maybe I'm just being too much of a wuss. I mean, she'd happily do the mileage. It's just, would I happily do the mileage in her? I do not have sugar in tea. Insurance for the test drives in New Zealand and Australia. The cars tend to be insured rather than the drivers. So that made life a lot easier. There were some valuable cars I drove where the owner did actually add me to their policy. MGA Twin Cam being a key example there. That should be fun. But yeah, that makes life a lot easier, because here in the UK, you insure the car as the driver. So my Citroen GSA is insured for me to drive and no one else. I usually, driving cars in this country, my policy gives me third-party cover on other vehicles. So it means if I bend them, I'm in all sorts of trouble. So this is why I generally try not to bend people's cars. Someone was asking about aging wheels. I've done a chat with aging wheels. It'll probably appear either back in the next week or early the week after. And his Wego is broken, unfortunately. It seems to be utterly dead. She's very sad. It will be making a brief appearance in our chat video. Oh, thanks, Shed TV. He's topped up the T fund. Post-lockdown hubnut trundle in your S60. Ooh, I do like those Volvo S60s. The first ones are starting to look very retro. It's a beautiful shape for a saloon. Yeah, and nice headlamp wipers on quite a lot of them as well. Are you planning to do something special for 60,000 subscribers? Yes, and that's getting closer. I recorded the video in New Zealand. It will be very special. I've actually edited it up now. I'm really looking forward to it. But again, still had some mic issues. The mic dropped out a bit because the camera hadn't been updated. Drove my Citroen Visa GTI into a wall while showing off. Well, yeah, we've all done the showing off thing. The most dangerous thing a man can say, and I say men because women don't seem to do this, is watch this, and then destroy their car. I mean, we see it with these exit videos from shows, people doing burnouts and wheel spins, and then crashing their cars like idiots. So yeah, not good times. Thoughts on the Matra Renault Aventime? Ooh, I do like them, but I've driven one, and of course it just drives like a Renault Espace. It doesn't feel that entertaining to drive, even though it was a V6. But beautiful cars. Ever driven a Peugeot 205 Roland Garros Cabriolet? Never driven any 205 Cabriolet. In 205s, I've only ever driven a 1-litre XC that I owned briefly a long time ago, or a GTI, which first of all had the 1.6 in it, and then was given a magazine makeover and had a 2-litre 306 XSI engine put into it, and it was just utterly insane. As an ex-print editor, any thoughts on the future of magazines? If Kelsey have killed off retro cars, that would be extremely sad, because I write for them. So I hope I haven't just found out that news there. That would be awful. But yeah, it is getting tricky times for magazines. It is very difficult for magazines to make headway at the moment. As I tried myself, Retro Japanese magazine, I loved the magazine. I was given freedom to really do what I like with that magazine. But could we make it make money? Not really. Real struggle. And as I'm seeing my ad revenue come down on YouTube now as well. So advertisers generally because people are stuck at home and not doing much, they do seem to be cutting back on expenditure, which has a knock-on effect on the people who make the content, whether it's magazines or the internet. Oh, thank you, Fixed Drive Ride Fly, for becoming a basic hub nutter. Peter in Oz, if you're on about Peter Anderson, I've already talked to him. I just said that. How hubnut or Azam, if that's how you pronounce it, Megas. I really like the Megas. I did have one lined up as a video. I just didn't get to do it last year before I went away. I'm not sure if the chap still owns it. They sound pretty dreadful to me, so I definitely need to drive one. More Allegro goodness. Yeah, it would be good to do more Allegros, and the estates are very, very attractive things. Renault Clio Williams isn't really my style. I think a Renault Clio diesel is probably much more hubnut. And the same with the 405 M16, MI16 rather. I had a BX with that 16 valve engine in, and it went like stink. But performance cars leave me cold generally. Although when we get to the HSV Maloo video, I became very conflicted. Well, yeah, YouTube are getting very wary about Corona talk. They're saying they're cutting back less on that, and they're going to let people be more free. So hopefully I can do my Toyota Corona and cheap Chinese Great Wall Wingle videos, because I would like to get those out there. How do you choose the cars that you buy? These days, a lot of the cars find me, but I do keep an eye on the classifieds, Facebook. People share stuff. William Ross says you have not reviewed a Land Crab. Sort of. I did an Austin Kimberley, which is Land Crab based, while I was in Australia. That's the only Land Crab I've actually driven on this channel so far. I have driven them back when I was a journalist a long time ago. Have you driven a Triumph Acclaim? Again, a long time ago. I need to drive one again. Triomatic, please. That would be a good one. Was there an Allegro van? No, I don't think they ever did one, because they did a Marina van, and the Marina was more suitable for being a van. Yeah, the Austin Kimberley was gorgeous. Kev did a great job on that. The Nth TV, any words for anyone looking to enter the world of motor journalism? Yeah, it's a tricky time. As I say, magazines are struggling to make money at the moment. But the best way to get started is to set up your own blog and just get in the habit of regularly populating it. Even if no one reads it, you're not doing it for the audience. You're doing it to develop your style and to build up a portfolio, so you can go to people and say, look, this is how I write. Because it's one of those worlds. Qualifications don't matter as much as the raw talent of actually being able to put features together. And writing for car club magazines, car club editors are always desperate for content. So yeah, you could do stuff that way. Cotton Classics, he apparently has a 1750 Allegro estate on his channel. Ooh, might be worth checking out. You'd want a big engine in the estate, really, wouldn't you? Is there a car that's more boring than a Suzuki Baleno? That Baleno had a hard time because it was a little hot hatch, and I ended up driving it around a town centre. So I didn't get to enjoy that car. I didn't get to enjoy its fizziness. Never driven a Hillman with the easy drive gearbox. I haven't driven many semi-automatics from that period, other than things like the NSU Row 80 and the Citroen GS Matic. Johnny Smith has a V6 Allegro. Yes, he does. We discussed it in an interview last week. Oh, Martin Gear, thank you very much for that donation. Ever driven an Austin Cambridge or a TR6? Yes, but not on video. Although actually I haven't driven a Cambridge. What I've driven is a Wolseley 2480 in Tasmania, which had the B series engine but in 6-cylinder form. So that's another test that I've still got to come on this Aussie Oddballs playlist. So yeah, lots to do. Oh, Austria. Copper 6600 asks about Morris 8 or Ford Popular. I've driven both, and yeah, it's a world away, really. Those are not cars to be checking about. Yeah, I shall have to see what I can do about that. Fastest diesel you drove was a Fiat Regatta TD. Yeah, turbo diesels have come a long way, but I quite like those early ones. Actually, I prefer non-turbo diesels, because a lot of those early turbo diesels tend to be quite laggy. But if that's got a turbo kicking in at 1500, that's not too bad. Fiat Panda 4x4 Auto Bianchi, sorry, Y10. I only recently found out that the Lancia Y10 was available in four-wheel drive form, using the underpinnings from the Panda 4x4. I would love to try one, but we didn't get them here. We did get the Panda 4x4. They've become quite rare. Would still like to drive one. Never driven an ASAM microcar. I don't think they'd be like a 2CV because they've got a much lumpier engine in those microcars and a CVT drive, so they don't sound as refined as a 2CV, if that's not too big an insult. Skoda 120 GLS, that'd be a fun one to try. Matra Bagheera, yeah, well, I've already done the Matra Morena as a video, so do go and check that one out. It sounded fantastic. Belonged to my friend Colin, who helped me put the 2CV engine together to get to Croatia the day before we left. What era was the Range Rover? It's a late-ish classic. It's not a soft dash, but it's a fairly late classic Range Rover. So that should be a fun one. Still need to edit that one together. Tom Wilde, best way to insure a fleet. Just speak to the classic insurers. To be honest, with Peter S. Taylor, I've got a separate policy for each car, but it's all linked, so there's a discount because of that. So most classic insurers will do a multi-car fleet. What was wrong with the rotary engine? First, I would say, brilliant little engine, very powerful. Mazda managed to get the reliability sussed, but they were always thirsty engines. I'm not going to respond to Chris McKay asking whether I ever locked the keys in the boot of a car. No, because he knows I did, because me and him had to spend about 40 minutes trying to break into Betty the day I took over ownership. So, is what I say to you, sir. Simone asks whether I've ever driven a Lamborghini. No, I've never driven a Ferrari either. This is a really stupid thing, and but I said the first Ferrari I drive has either got to be a 250 GT short wheelbase or a 288 GTO. So it's never going to happen. But yeah, I don't want to drive a NAF Ferrari. It's got to be something a bit crazy. And so yeah, I did say GT short wheelbase. I'm not interested in the 250 GTO. I never thought those were an attractive car. The oh no, the S60 is a facelift with no headlamp wipers. Oh, sorry, Mr. Pastry, I'm out of town. No, it'd still be nice to try. Avenger Tiger, I'd prefer any Avenger but a Tiger. I have driven a Tiger. It was mildly modified and had no suspension. How much to set aside for a road trip to Croatia? That's so difficult. But I mean, it's easy enough. You can work out how economical your car is and what fuel costs are as an average across Europe. And when you consider the mileage, you're going to be covering a couple of thousand miles. You're going to need a lot of fuel. So fuel kind of becomes the major expense. Then accommodation, food can vary a lot. Germany's quite cheap for fuel. Must go back to Germany. I would like to see more of Germany. Fittingly, we can talk about the Porsche 928 at this point. Someone's asked about. I like the Porsche 928s. Pantograph rear wiper, V8 engine, a car of two characters. They can be a great GT, but when you plant your foot, bearing in mind, I think I've only driven automatic 928s. Oddly, they really do take off, and they obviously handle very well as well. So nice cars, just too quick for most conditions, really. So I'll have a nice early one, the 4.7. Would I buy another Caravan? Asks Hugh, which for some reason got picked up by the content filter. Does it not like Caravans? No, I don't think I would really. I'm not a Caravan fan. Is there anything you can work on at home? Nothing. I've got the GSA, but I've not got any parts and I haven't got very many tools. I may do a sneaky visit to the unit next week because another thing the GSA lacks is rear seatbelts. My girlfriend has children. So post-lockdown, if we're ever going to go anywhere, thank you, Kevin, for that donation to the T Fund. Yeah, we could really do with some rear seatbelts. And I'm told that BX rear seatbelts will fit very nicely. And I'm sure I have some in the unit. And I'm going to say that actually they're essential to have rear seatbelts. So I'm going to use that as my excuse to go to the unit, try and find the seatbelts, see if we can get them fitted, and all will be good. And I need to fit rear seatbelts to Ellie, the 2CV, as well, because I haven't redone that. She's the last year that rear seatbelts aren't required by law. So she hasn't got them at the moment. How do I add to the T Fund? There's a dollar button beneath the chat where you enter the chat, and that's called Super Chats, and you can do that, or you can do it more directly. Just visit hubnut.org, go to the shop, and the shop has a donate option, and we take far less of a cut from ourselves than Hubnut does, so that's another way to do it. But thank you very much for any contributions, very much appreciated. Simon asked whether I applied the GB sticker to the GSA yet. No, it's sat on the stairs just to my right here. It's raining at the moment. Today's not the day to fit it, but I will do. Do you miss Betty? I certainly do. Yeah, I do miss her waftiness. The GSA is great, but a GSA has to be worked hard, especially if you're driving home with pizza that's rapidly cooling. How did Ellie get her name? She's actually named after the Mustang in Gone in 60 Seconds, which I saw, I think, 2 days, the modern remake, the awful one, after buying her, I think. So that's how she got her name. Oh, there we go. More super chats. Thank you very much, guys. East Coast Steam and Tom Wild. Are the batteries kept in shape on your fleet? No. Oh, Simon has joined us a basic hub nutter. That's another option. Thank you. And Matthew's also topped up the T Fund. Thank you very much. And oh, thanks, Cyberpat. As a donation from New Zealand there. Thank you. And now the questions have all jumped out of sequence. Oh gosh, everyone's been very generous. Thank you very much, Big Jono. Nice 928 in that Australia video. Yeah, that was a nice car. Would it be fair to say overall you're disappointed with the GSA? That's an interesting one. It hasn't massively won me over. There's something about the driving experience I can't quite get on top of. It might be the fact the steering's too heavy, and of course I'm used to BXs. I've driven a lot more miles in BXs with power steering, and the steering tends to be more direct and a nicer weight. Yeah, and the fact you have to work it so hard, it's like a strange cross between a Citroen DS and a 2CV, and of course it's sat right between the two, so it's high revving but also wafty. So I'm not massively in love with the GSA, but I'm very glad I'm owning one. Oh, thank you, Paulie Walnuts and Simon Parsons and Nigel Hancock. Thank you very much. Phil Bruce asked which Ford AU grill I prefer. I really like the early waterfall grill, to be honest. I kind of dreamt of finding a ute with a waterfall grill in America and bringing it home. And yeah, this is after I'd sold Betty, obviously. Have you seen the stunning black BX GTI on Car and Classic? Not yet. I'm trying not to look at the classifieds too much at the moment. Did the ukulele survive the trip? It did. Unfortunately, the ukulele is currently in the back of the City Rover. And the City Rover is nowhere near my storage nor me at the moment. It's at the MOT garage. They've stopped work while this is all going on, but I am hoping to catch up with them next week. The Nth TV, thank you for that donation to the T Fund and for extra milk. Full fat, please. Thank you. Oh yes, Nigel reminds me I have a Patreon. This is how good I am at this. Patreon is another way to support. And once the lockdown's over, Patreon members and YouTube channel members get to ask questions for these monthly Q&As. But I'm just doing these much more open while we're in lockdown, because I think we all need a bit of a chat, don't we? Stops us all going crazy. How many pairs of glasses do you have? 3. I have these with reactor lenses, and I have full-on sunglasses. Have you ever won a raffle? This is a raffle, but we don't say raffle because raffles are bad. I have won a raffle. It was a Citroen ZX, and it broke down on the way home because the wheel bearing failed, and you can see that in a video. If you search my channel for ZX, you'll get that, and me testing a Volcan, I imagine. Oh, thank you. More donations coming in. I'm not keeping up with them. I'm very, very sorry. Alec H and Philo's Garage, or Garage, and Icy Ollie as well. Thank you. Thank you, people. And Scottish Car Enthusiasts there as well. Lovely people. Thank you very much. Did you watch the JR Go video about the Matiz-based Snyder? Yes, I did. That was fascinating. This is a three-wheeler which is based on a Chinese knockoff of a Daewoo Matiz, but 3 wheels with a rear-mounted engine. Naturally, I would love one. Oh, thank you, Ian Speller. Are you tempted to get a Ripple 2CV at some point? Well, this is an interesting one because I've always thought they were too slow and absolutely awful. So I didn't want one. And then I drove that one in Tasmania, the slow-built, British-built one, and I really found it quite pleasant. I mean, the 12, as much as 18 horsepower is not very much power. Yeah, thank you, Simone, for being a Patreon member. It's a shame that doesn't show up on here, really, but that's the way of things. But yeah, I could be more open to the idea now, I must say. Oh, thank you, Tone. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, Tom, being priced out in the market for a 2CV. It's a shame because so many of us got into 2CVs because they were cheap. I bought Ellie 20 years ago for £450 with MOT. Griff Speed has a BMW Compact. Oh, yeah, I'd like to try one of those. Has it still got gingicators? Please say it has gingicators. I'm just scrolling back. Oh, yes, Ian Joyce said, did you see the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain doing Crazy on YouTube? I did. I've seen the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain several times. And they've also been doing some play-alongs where you can get your ukulele out. And it turns out the son of my girlfriend has a ukulele. It's a SpongeBob SquarePants ukulele. And it doesn't hold tune brilliantly, but I've still been able to play along despite the fact my ukulele is currently away from me. I want to get it back. Hopefully I can get my ukulele next week. My ukulele is a little Lanakai, and I love the sound of it. Oh, well. Paige Greer, big donation there from America. Thank you very much. Goal. Henry Brown as well. And Andy's also given me a donation as well. For baking essentials, everyone needs cake. Wise words, Andy. Wise words indeed. Thank you, the Vim Fuego as well. What do you think of the Renault Fuego Turbo? I've done a video. You can go and check it out, and you'll find out my thoughts on the Fuego. The Nth TV has become a basic hub nutter now. Thank you. And Terry O'Neill also topping up the T Fund. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so fortunate that income is okay at the moment. The ad revenue is dropping, but still, compared to a lot of people, I'm in a very good place, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So if you can't contribute at the moment because of circumstances, don't worry. I don't think any less of you. I'm very grateful for people contributing, but yeah, if you can't contribute, don't worry. You can still like my videos, you can share them. Just watching them helps. So you're doing your bit regardless. I know this is really difficult times for a lot of people because it's like the country's just been put on hold. And it's not ideal. We're not able to see friends and family. It's really difficult times. So yeah, thanks, Nigel, for asking how to do a donation. That's gone remarkably well. But yeah, I'm very grateful in this especially difficult times. I'm sure we all can't wait for things to get back to normal again. Straight 6 SD1s are vanishing. Would you like to save one? Yeah. I'm sure Nitro Sylvia can't save all the SD1s, despite his best efforts. Dave Carter, when you spoke to Johnny Smith, did he say he was still involved with Fully Charged? He did, and the answer is he isn't. He has left Fully Charged. That happened earlier this year. A bit of a shame, I must say, because I thought he really brought something to Fully Charged. Oh, thank you, Frank. Buy your girlfriend a bunch of flowers. It's not a bad shout. But does that mean then that strange men on the internet are buying flowers for my girlfriend through me? No, just saying that's a bit strange. Thanks, Frank. Yeah, if you can't afford to make a donation, don't worry. It's lovely that people can, but yeah, don't worry. Watch and enjoy the videos. That's ultimately what this is all about. I'm so fortunate to be able to call this a job. And it's a bit strange because it feels like busking. It feels like I've got my cap on the floor, and some of you are walking past and chucking a few quid in it, and some of you are not. But I'll still keep on playing. Not literally. I'm still not brave enough to show you my ukulele playing because it's not very good. What's your opinion on the Volkswagen Phaeton? Never driven one. They look kind of interesting because they look like the sort of car that no one will pay much attention to. So it's probably an ideal car for me to look at. Ford Sierra Sapphire 2000e. Wow. When was the last time I saw one of those? That was the really posh Sierra, leather seats and everything. Amazing. Any more Australian content? Loads to come. Wasabi Cars, and Wasabi Cars is based in Japan, and you follow him on social media. He's always posting lovely scenes from Japan. I'm hoping to include some of his photos in one of my photo reel videos. I've got another one in production at the moment. Sadly won't have any Wasabi Cows photos in, but because you lot sent me so many, I've had over 100 emails of photos, so I've got weeks worth of content to do on those. Yeah, we'll see how things go. I'm gonna have to wind this down. I realize we're over an hour already. I need to start thinking about lunch, and we've got a meat man who comes to town. I need to go and visit him, because otherwise we won't have any food for the week. I appreciate your videos, thank you. But yeah, I think it's probably about time. Oh, Henry's been gifted a 1 litre Daihatsu Charade. You lucky devil, they're fantastic. Oh, and just on Z32 Nissan 300s ZXs, I have driven one, the one owned by Joel Pickering. Beautiful example, and I still feel very bad that it did quite an impressive wheel spin in second gear while I was driving it. Yeah, but that was for a magazine feature. I didn't get to do video on it. Really, I can't justify that level of power for the road. I'd quite like to drive a naturally aspirated Japanese import. What was that? You have Gustav Klimt's The Kiss, I do, not mine, as a backdrop, plus sequins, also not mine, and toy owls. I do have toy owls, yes. Are you dusting down in a fancy dress shop? No, my girlfriend just likes to wear nice dresses, and occasionally owls, apparently. I bet she never thought her owls were going to be on the internet. But yeah, I'm going to wind things down now, people, because like I say, got to go and get some food and go and buy some meat. So that'll be good times. Leyland P76 video, I still haven't edited it. I still need to get that done. I think I'm probably going to release the Morris Nomad one first, and then I'll do the P76. But having said that, I'm kind of desperate to share the P76 with you, so maybe I'll get that edited at some point anyway. I need to have a couple of days off, because here I am working again on a weekend. Oh, thank you, Robert. That's yeah, thank you. Yeah, keeping the kids entertained is certainly a challenge, but it's amazing how far you can go with a packet of cards. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming along. Sorry I haven't been able to answer every question. I'll try and keep up with them as best I can, but yeah, it's always difficult. But yes, I wish you all well for this lockdown period. I will keep them coming. There's over 600 people watching right now, which is just incredible. But yeah, thank you very much, and I shall all see you in a future video. So farewell, and don't forget, Nissan Skyline video, not a fast one, coming tomorrow. Farewell, everyone.